Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja, coming up in the next 30 minutes. France unveils a new government led by Prime Minister Francois Bayrou. New team comprises former ministers and senior civil servants. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vows to fight forces of evil in his message to Christians worldwide. And ICC announces schedule for Champions Trophy 2025. India to face Pakistan on 23rd of February in Dubai. French President Emmanuel Macron unveiled a new government on Monday, aiming to navigate another vote of no confidence in a deeply divided parliament. The new government, led by Francois Bayrou, will focus on drafting a 2025 budget and tackling France's budget deficit, which is expected to hit 6% of GDP this year. This is well above the EU's 3% target for member states. This marks France's fourth government this year, featuring a mix of former ministers and senior civil servants. Meanwhile, Parisians have set low expectations from France's newly appointed ministers, which many say are not representative of the population.
I don't expect anything from this new government because it's clear that the further things go, the more catastrophic they become. I don't see it unless there's a magic wand.
It's always the Macronists and the Republicans. They haven't included the others. The socialists are not part of it. So for me, it lacks a mix. The mix is the whole of France. It's not just the left, the right. It's all the French people.
Meanwhile, far-right leader Marine Le Pen has said that the days of France's new government are already numbered, predicting an early presidential election in a few months. Le Pen spoke a day after President Emmanuel Macron named a new government under Francois Bayrou, his fourth Prime Minister of the year, to drag the second largest EU economy out of political crisis. Marine Le Pen is seen by many as having her best ever chance to win the French presidency in 2027 after 3 unsuccessful attempts. However, her trial on charges of creating fake jobs at the EU Parliament, which she denies, could hobble her ambitions. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu emphasized unity among Israelis in defending their nation against those who seek its destruction. In his Christmas message, Netanyahu stated that Israel stands at the forefront of the global fight against forces of evil and tyranny.
The people of Israel are united in defending our nation against those bent on our destruction. We seek peace with all those who wish peace with us, but we will do whatever is necessary to defend the one and only Jewish state, the repository and the source of our common heritage. Israel leads the world in fighting the forces of evil and tyranny, but our battle is not yet over. With your support and with God's help, I assure you, we shall prevail.
Earlier, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu signaled that certain progress had been achieved in the ongoing hostage talks with Hamas, but did not specify how long it would take to see the results. During a speech in Israel's Knesset, Netanyahu said that Israel had made great achievements militarily on several fronts and that military pressure on Hamas had led its leaders to soften their previous demands.
I want to tell you cautiously that there is a certain progress, and this certain progress is due to 3 main reasons. There is progress. I don't know how long it will take. We will continue to operate in any way and without a pause until we bring them all back home from the enemy's land. We do not take our eyes off Iran, that is threatening to eliminate us, and we are determined to stop Iran from reaching nuclear weapon as well as other weapons that could threaten our cities.
For the first time, Israel's defense minister, Israel Katz, publicly acknowledged the assassination of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh in Iran in July. The move might escalate tensions between Tehran and Israel in a region already rocked by Israel's conflict with Hamas and Hezbollah. Warning Houthis, Katz said that Israeli troops would also decapitate the leadership of Houthi rebels. Until now, Israel had never admitted to killing Haniyeh, but Iran and Hamas had blamed it for Hamas's political leader's death. Haniyeh was killed in a guest house in Tehran on July 31st. Israel has also allegedly killed Nasrallah in a Beirut bombing on September 27th, which was followed by the killing of Haniyeh's successor, Sinwar, on October 16th.
These days, when the Houthi terrorist organization is firing missiles at Israel, I want to convey a clear message to them at the beginning of my remarks. We have defeated Hamas. We have won over Hezbollah, we have blinded Iran's defense systems and damaged the production systems, we have toppled the Assad regime in Syria, we have dealt a severe blow to the axis of evil, and we will also deal a severe blow to the Houthi terrorist organization in Yemen, which remains the last to stand and fire at Israel. We will damage its strategic infrastructure and we will behead its leaders, just as we did to Haniyeh, Sinwar, and Nasrallah in Tehran, Gaza, and Lebanon. We will do it in Hodeidah and Sana'a. Whoever will raise his hand to Israel, his hand will be severed. The IDF's long arm will harm him and will settle the score.
In the United States, President-elect Donald Trump is planning to pull Washington out of the World Health Organization, WHO, on day one of his second administration. It is one of the many things he promises to execute on January 20th. Though this won't be the first time Trump has tried to lead a U.S. exit from the World Health Organization. In 2020, Trump began the process of leaving the organization amid the spread of COVID-19. At that time, he accused the WHO of being controlled by Beijing and criticized its handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. He sent a 4-page letter to the WHO director, suspending funds and initiating the withdrawal process.
And we are by far the largest contributor to WHO, World Health, and they misled us. I don't know. They must have known more than they knew, because they came after what other people knew that weren't even involved. We knew things that they didn't know, and either they didn't know or they didn't tell us, or right now they're literally a pipe organ for China. That's the way I view it.
Trump has nominated several critics of the organization to public health positions, including Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a vaccine skeptic who is up for the post of Secretary of Health and Human Services, which oversees all major U.S. health agencies, including the CDC and FDA. At a press briefing on December 10th, WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said that WHO will be giving time and space for the transition to the new government in the United States.
We're ready to work together. And the relationship between WHO and the United States has been actually a good model of partnership and has been partnering for many years. And we believe that that will be the case. And I believe, the US leaders understand that the US cannot be safe unless the rest of the world is safe.
The Biden administration on Monday announced a last-minute trade investigation into Chinese-made legacy semiconductors that could heap more U.S. tariffs on chips from China that power everyday goods from autos to washing machines to telecom gear. The U.S. Trade Representative's Office, which will conduct the new probe, said it is aimed at protecting American and other market-driven chip producers from China's massive state-driven buildup of domestic chip supply. The Section 301 probe, launched just 4 weeks before President-elect Donald Trump takes office on January 20th, will be handed over to his administration in January for completion, Biden administration officials said. The effort could offer Trump a ready avenue to begin imposing some of the hefty 60% tariffs that he has threatened on Chinese imports. Germany is investigating possible security lapses after a man drove his car into a Christmas market, killing at least 5 people. The incident has raised fresh concerns about security and immigration ahead of February's snap election. Authorities are still trying to determine the motive of the suspect, a 50-year-old psychiatrist from Saudi Arabia identified as Talab A. Meanwhile, 3,500 people attended a rally by the anti-migrant AfD in Magdeburg's Cathedral Square on Monday night. Federal Interior Minister Nancy Faeser called for stricter internal security measures. The 27-country bloc, that is the European Union, has trade agreements around the world. But there's one country it just signed one with this past weekend. Switzerland, of all countries, lies at the heart of Europe, but it is not a member of the EU. Lars Holter is with Deutsche Welle and joins me from Berlin now on the story. Lars, what can you tell us about this new trade agreement?
Thanks for having me. Well, I got to tell you that I too was surprised that there hadn't been a trade agreement between Switzerland and the EU so far. Switzerland has 4 neighboring countries, that's Germany, France, Austria and Italy, that are all EU members. And then there's a 5th neighbor, tiny Liechtenstein, that is at least part of the single market, the European Economic Area. In fact, a person in Zurich has to travel over 600 kilometers to even get to the next non-EU country, which would be Bosnia-Herzegovina or Britain, depending on what direction you want to take. It is obvious, given the geographic location of Switzerland, that almost all of its trade is with the EU. And for decades, bilateral agreements had been regulating that trade. They had all been focusing on separate business sectors. And since they are now running out, many in Switzerland were in fact anxious to get an all-encompassing trade agreement in place so as to secure the trade partnership for the future.
And Lars, now what are the main points of this new trade agreement?
Well, first of all, it regulates the literal trade of goods, the import and export without tariffs, the transfer through air and land, but it also officially allows Switzerland to trade electricity and energy with Europe, which, for example, is especially important for Germany, particular southern Germany, where we're sharing a border and where many companies will be happy to import electricity and hopefully see prices drop. One item was a bit of a stumbling block. Switzerland is a country that has always had a very tight lock on immigration. And the EU, of course, allows its citizens to freely move within the bloc, to live and work wherever they want. Now, that is something the Swiss didn't want to see for their country. So Switzerland insists on its ability to slow down or stop the influx of people moving there. That was especially important as many had feared that otherwise the deal wouldn't even get agreed to in the first place. By the way, the deal is not yet fully through. There will be a referendum sometime in the new year that can still technically block this agreement from becoming the law. But it seems unlikely, given the warnings economists have been given. They fear that Switzerland would stand to suffer without well-regulated trade with the European Union.
Okay, thank you very much, Lars. Lars Holter reporting from DW Berlin. A strike at Starbucks expanded to over 300 US stores on Tuesday, with more than 5,000 workers expected to walk off the job before the 5-day work stoppage ends later on Christmas Eve. Starbucks Workers United, representing employees at 525 stores nationwide, said that more than 60 US stores across 12 major cities, including New York, Los Angeles, Boston and Seattle, were shut on Monday. Talks between Starbucks and the union had hit an impasse with the unresolved issues over wages, staffing and schedules, leading to the strike that began on Friday. And next we take a look at other stories making news worldwide. Moldova's pro-European President Maya Sandu was sworn in for a second term on Tuesday after an election overshadowed by accusations of interference by Moscow. Sandu defeated her Russian-friendly opponent Alexander Stoyanoglu in the second round of a hard-fought election last month. The Eiffel Tower was evacuated on Tuesday after a fire alarm was set off by a short circuit in the elevator system. No visitors were harmed and the tower was reopened later the day after evacuation. Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. India bids farewell to the pioneer of parallel cinema. Last rites of Shyam Benegal held with full state honours in Mumbai. And on Christmas Eve, celebrations, feasts, dazzling lights mark the spirit of harmony around the world.
मान लो आपके बॉस का मैसेज आए कि इमरजेंसी है, अभी का अभी गिफ्ट कार्ड और वाउचर खरीद के पर्सनल मेल पर भेजो। क्या करोगे? भेज दोगे? बॉस, ये बॉस नहीं, बॉस की तस्वीर लगा के फ्रॉडगिरी करने वाले हैं। मैं बॉस का फेवरेट बनना चाहता हूँ, पर मूर्ख नहीं हूँ। याद रहे, यूपीआई सेफ है, पर कोई आपको बेवकूफ बनाना चाहे तो कहो मैं मूर्ख नहीं हूँ।
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I am Tanvita Neja. On to updates from India now. On Tuesday, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi held discussions with eminent economists and thought leaders at the Niti Aayog to prepare for Union Budget 2025-26. The meeting themed maintaining India's growth momentum at a time of global uncertainty. In his remarks, PM Modi emphasized that a developed India can be achieved by 2047 through a fundamental change in mindset. Economists offered suggestions on employment, skill development, agriculture, investment and exports. Participants included renowned experts like Dr. Surajit S. Bhalla, Dr. Ashok Gulati and Dr. Sudipto Mundle. India's Chief Economic Advisor V. Anantha Nageshwaran released the results of the annual survey of unincorporated sector enterprises 2023-24 in New Delhi on Tuesday. The survey highlighted a significant growth in the unincorporated non-agricultural sector, with the number of establishments rising by 12.84% to 7.34 crore and employment increasing by 1 crore to 12.06 crores, showing a growth of 10%. Women-owned enterprises grew to 26%, reflecting greater female participation. The findings underscore the sector's strong recovery and growing momentum post the pandemic. Veteran filmmaker Shyam Benegal was cremated on Tuesday with full state honours. Shyam Benegal has passed away at the age of 90. The director took his last breath on Monday in Mumbai. The film fraternity and his close friends mourned the loss of the pioneer of what is called the Indian New Wave movement. Divyanshu Kashyap brings us more.
It's an end of an era for film fraternity. As a pioneer of parallel cinema in India, Shyam Benegal, one of the greatest filmmakers since the 1970s, died at the age of 90 in Mumbai. His mortal remains were cremated with full state honours. Paying tributes to the author, President of India Draupadi Murmu wrote on X, "The passing of Sri Shyam Benegal marks the end of a glorious chapter of Indian cinema and television. He started a new kind of cinema and crafted several classics. A veritable institution, he groomed many actors and artists. His extraordinary contribution was recognized in the form of numerous awards, including Dada Saheb Phalke Award and Padma Bhushan. My condolences to the members of his family and his countless admirers."
Vice President Jagdeep Thankar wrote, saddened by the demise of Sri Shyam Benegal ji, a Padma Bhushan recipient and a visionary filmmaker, his pioneering works greatly enriched the landscape of Indian cinema. Sri Benegal's path-breaking films address social realities with unmatched depth and sensitivity. His contribution to art, culture and storytelling will always be remembered with deep respect. My heartfelt condolences to his family and admirers in this difficult hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi wrote on X, deeply saddened by the passing of Sri Shyam Benegal ji, whose storytelling had a profound impact on Indian cinema. His works will continue to be admired by people from different walks of life. Condolences to his family and admirers. Om Shanti. Born on the 14th of December in the year 1934 in Hyderabad, Benegal began his career in copywriting before transitioning to filmmaking, creating numerous commercials, corporate films and documentaries.
I got to learn from him, I got to perform with him, I got to spend time with him, I traveled the world with him. kahan ghume hum log saath mein. And I tell you, those were the best days of my life.
Benegal made his directorial debut with Ankur. His directorial debut, which means the seedling, literally sprouted a series of impeccable masterpieces like Nishant, Manthan, Bhumika, Junoon, The Making of the Mahatma and Bose, The Forgotten Hero. His final film, Mujib, The Making of a Nation, focused on the founder of Bangladesh, Mujibur Rahman. Benegal also helped launch the careers of many actors.
उन्होंने एक नई जागृति, नया चेतन, एक नया सोच हिंदी सिनेमा को दिया, इसमें कोई शक ही नहीं.
Benegal is also known for his television contribution, with the most notable being Bharat Ek Khoj. He also directed Samvidhan, a mini-series on the making of India's constitution. Benegal has received numerous accolades, including National Film Awards and the prestigious Dada Saheb Phalke Award in the year 2007. His national honours include the Padma Shri and Padma Bhushan. He also served as a faculty member at the Film and Television Institute of India in Pune. His filmmaking legacy continues to inspire future generations of filmmakers, as his films continues to resonate with the society. With inputs from Shyama Mishra, Diptanshu Kashyap's report for DD India.
The festive season of Christmas and New Year is finally here. The West Jaintia Hills district of Meghalaya, Jovai, has been transformed into a festive wonderland for the Christmas season. Marking the onset of the festival, the entire locality has been illuminated with festive lights, creating a magical atmosphere. Thousands of people are gathering every evening on the streets, enjoying the festive spirit of Christmas. The festivities will culminate on the evening of December 25th with Christmas carols from all the churches around Jovai town, followed by a community feast the next day at their respective grounds. And in North Macedonia, scuba divers continued their unique Christmas tradition by decorating a tree at the bottom of Lake Ohrid. Divers from the local club Amphora, along with Red Cross volunteers, placed the tree near the museum on the water. This year, the event was dedicated to children with rare diseases, with divers extending New Year greetings to all. The underwater Christmas tree, which will remain in place until January 2025, will also be illuminated for the first time. And in sports, the International Cricket Council, ICC, officially declared the schedule for the Champions Trophy for the year 2025. The much-awaited clash between India and Pakistan will take place on 23rd of February in Dubai. Besides Pakistan, the other two teams in India's group are Bangladesh and New Zealand. India will play Bangladesh on 20th of February and New Zealand on 2nd of March. All matches of the team India will be held in Dubai, which is the neutral venue for the tournament. The first semi-final will be played in the UAE, irrespective of India's presence. Lahore is set to host the final, with the provision of holding it in the UAE if India qualifies. Defending champion and host Pakistan will kick off the tournament on 19th of February against New Zealand in Karachi. All matches in the tournament will be day-night affairs. The Pro Kabaddi League is set to create history by taking the electrifying sport of Kabaddi to Australia with the highly anticipated PKL Melbourne raid. The event will be held at the iconic John Cain Arena on Saturday, just a day before the mega final of Pro Kabaddi League Season 11. 3 teams comprising of the best Indian Kabaddi talent from the PKL alongside a star-studded Australian contingent, are set to clash in one-of-a-kind showcase event. That's all for this edition of DD India Live. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on our different social media handles at DD India Live, and you can also download our DD India mobile app for quick news and updates. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja from all of us here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.